Hey guys, what is happening? Anime Viking here, and welcome back to my second channel, Anime Viking Unleashed. And wow, guys, how can I put this? With Anime Expo underway, although by the time these videos go live, Anime Expo is long over. With Anime Expo underway at the time of recording this, there has just been a lot, and I mean a lot, of exciting news coming from the anime and manga industry, and not just partaking to the usual, kind of news where it's like, oh, these shows are coming out, or, or, oh, this manga is going to continue or have a collaboration with this product or something like that. We're talking like we've had a lot of massive news as far as some already existing and massive IPs are concerned, where they are either getting a complete anime reboots, or in the case of stuff like games, which is what this video is covering, we're finally getting official English localizations of these iconic properties. And then of course there's also the other matter of some of the cool figures and collectibles that have also been announced, which I will probably cover in a separate video. But I'm just super excited. This is probably the best Anime Expo that I have ever seen news come out of, because it's like, even though living in South Africa, I tend not to follow a lot of what happens in international cons, unless you can't escape the news, like say New York Comic Con, which is, San Diego Comic Con, which is one of the big ones and whatnot. Unless it's something like that, I tend not to pay too much attention to that news, because it's not like it's Comic Con Africa, which is the one that I go to, where if anything gets announced there, it's local, it's immediately there, and it's definitely more in your face than what it is with the international news. But I'm just super excited at all the stuff that's been announced, and I couldn't be more happy. And so I guess for the first bit of news that I want to cover in this particular video, it is the fact that one of the most iconic visual novel games, and the visual novel that actually kickstarted the whole Type Moon universe, which of course includes the very popular Fate franchise, is actually getting an official English release for the West. And of course it will be released on the same platforms as the Japanese version of this particular remake of the iconic Tsukihime visual novel. It will be releasing on the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. Now, before we go any further into the video, guys, I do want to encourage you all to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, share it, all that cool stuff. It really helps with the algorithm and growing the channel. And of course, if you want to check my high production content, where there's a lot more editing and everything like that involved, then I do encourage you all to head on over to my main channel, Anime Viking. There you will find such series like Let's Construct a Concept Album, Metalhead Reviews Anime Songs, my podcast, the Animetal Cast, that I co-host with fellow AniTuber Footnum, and of course just a whole bunch of other anime and music analysis slash discussion content and whatnot. So there's a whole bunch of stuff for both the music lovers and anime fans that you will find there. And then of course you can follow me on all my various social media links, all in the description box below. And if you really want to help the channel out, you can go on over to my Patreon and check out all the cool stuff there. There you will have access to exclusive behind the scenes content, videos that for some reason get struck by YouTube and then can't be viewed on there anymore, and so you'll have to view them on Patreon. And then of course you will get exclusive teasers and sneak peeks to my own manga projects that I am working on with fellow South African artist Dean Brawson. And without giving too much details away about the project, let's just say that if you're a fan of Berserk, The Case Study of Vanitas, Guillermo del Toro's The Strain, Robert E. Howard's Solomon Kane or any of the works of H.P. Lovecraft. If you are a fan of any of that stuff, I do recommend you go on over and check it out. It only costs $1 a month to gain access to all of this stuff. So yeah, definitely go head on over and check it out and support if you can. Of course, it's not necessary to, but if you want to, feel free to check it out. Yeah, with all the plugs out of the way, let us carry on with the video. So as I mentioned earlier, Anime Expo has been announcing a lot of amazing news, and of course one bit of such news is the fact that Tsukihime, the remake of the Tsukihime visual novel, is getting an official English localization both for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. Of course, it has sold quite a few number of units in Japan because it's a very iconic visual novel, and as I said before, it was the visual novel that kick-started the whole Type Moon universe, and if you are familiar with the Type Moon universe, you know it includes stories like Tsukihime, the Garden of Sinners, of course the very popular Fate franchise, which has been turned into fighting games and gacha games and all this other kind of stuff, you know. And there's of course the Fate franchise is arguably the most popular of the Type Moon entries in the Type Moon universe. So yeah, those of you who are familiar with Fate should at least know what Tsukihime is. Or even if you don't, I'm sure you've seen the characters around, you know, somewhere, or have seen them pop up in various entries of the Grail War and whatnot in other takes of the Fate Grail War and everything like that. But yeah, so essentially it's getting an official English translation, which, you know, is a good thing, because then that means, you know, it's more likely that they will make a PC release for Steam sometime in the future. I do know that the developer and of course the author of the original visual novel have expressed interest in making a version for Steam, but that of course depends on how well this English version does. So I'm hoping that it is going to do well for the people who play it on those platforms, and that we do eventually get a Steam release, because I would actually like to you know, play it and you know, perhaps even make it as a series for the channel. So I would actually like to experience it that way. And of course, me being the lazy bum that I am, I don't feel like, you know, going onto YouTube, finding an obscure video by some YouTuber, like tech YouTuber with a foreign accent, and then telling me I have to click this link and download this patch and this WinRAR file and all that stuff, and then punch in a bunch of codes, install, apply, whatever, to play a fan translation of it. I'm a very lazy person. I would just like to download the game one shot in English and play it. So yeah, that is what I would like to do. But yeah, it's but I guess that all depends on how well the remake does in the West, and I'm pretty sure it will do well, because a lot of Western anime fans just absolutely adore the Fate franchise. And of course, with Demon Slayer being as popular as it is, you know, if people just, even if Western anime fans just even catch a whiff of that UFO table animation when it comes to the opening themes for the two routes, in this visual novel, I'm pretty sure they're gonna like want to jump on board and experience this visual novel as quickly as they can, you know, just to get more of that UFO table, you know, visual, you know, cocaine, if you will. So yeah, no, I'm particularly excited for this. Also, of course, according to the article published about it, you know, there's different voice actors. It's not going to be the same voice actors in the original visual novel, or in the 2003 anime adaptation that JC Staff did, Lunar Legend Tsukihime, that was the 2003 one. So it's going to have completely different voice actors. It doesn't say who are going to be the English voice actors, or if they are even going to do English voice actors. They'll probably just keep it with the Japanese and the text being translated into English, like they usually do with most visual novels that get released in the West. But yeah, so it's going to be different actors. Of course, the opening themes for both routes are done by Riona, and I've heard them already. They are absolutely incredible, probably her best songs yet. I know some people might disagree with me on that take, but hey, once my mind's made up on what an artist's best song is, it's pretty hard to convince me otherwise. But yeah, so no, it's pretty cool that this is happening. And I guess another thing that this release opens the potential to doing is that it might get an anime reboot. I'm sincerely hoping that it does get an anime reboot, because as a Berserk fan, I do understand the pain of Tsukihime fans when they say they've come up with this whole mantra, if you will, this whole like this underground fight club kind of rule, where they've had to say to each other there is no such thing as a Tsukihime anime, because of how at least according to the people who've played the original visual novel, how bad the 2003 anime adaptation was, and as someone who started, was introduced to Tsukihime through the anime, and of course living in South Africa and whatnot, hasn't had the means to play the visual novel, and of course me being lazy and not wanting to download and install a cajillion files to play a fan translation, I of course haven't experienced the original yet. But as a Berserk fan, I can sympathize with having something that you really, really love, and has this in-depth lore and better character developments and everything like that, to get completely bastardized by having to cut stuff out or not get the visual treatment that it deserves. So the only thing that makes me enjoy the 2003 anime is stuff like the music is great, the atmosphere is great, the central premise for the story is great. The only thing that's lacking in is of course the character designs, the actual animation with the fight scenes and whatnot. Like all that stuff is how shall we say, that it's really lacking in that department. But as far as everything else goes, like I said, like maybe just general 2000s anime aesthetic, music, atmosphere and whatnot, so that element it did do pretty well, and I actually did enjoy that aspect about it. But I can, even having not played the visual novel, the original visual novel, I can still tell that it's there's something lacking about it, and that I am definitely missing out on the full experience. So I'm just and you might be thinking to yourself, well, why are you reporting on this or commenting on this, if you haven't played the original before? It's like, yeah, like as I said, I've I am a fan of the Fate franchise. I especially enjoyed Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, Fate Apocrypha. I've enjoyed all these entries and whatnot, but and of course I'm a huge fan of the Garden of the Sinners movies. But as much as I love those, I did find the story of Tsukihime, because I'm a huge fan of vampires when it comes to fiction, especially in horror. And I know Tsukihime is not so much a horror per se. It has horror elements, but it's more like of a backdrop than anything else. It's not a pure horror. So as a fan of vampires in general, this is truly piqued my interest, and especially after seeing Ufotable's work for the opening animations for the two different routes and whatnot. Like, I'm very excited to see if they will actually remake the anime as well and do a reboot. I do see here on the article that there is an anime film based on the, I guess you could call it the if you want to call it the quote-unquote prequel to Tsukihime, Witch on the Holy Night. which tells the story of one of the characters that the main protagonist of Tsukihime meets when he's a kid. Of course, when he meets her like after the events of Witch on the Holy Night. So I guess you could call it a prequel of sorts. But that particular story in the Type Moon universe is getting a film that is, I guess it's supposed to drop this year, but knowing all the stuff that's coming out and the greater demand for more anime and Ufotable being very much busy with Demon Slayer, I have a funny feeling it's probably going to be pushed back to next year or something like that if it doesn't drop this year. But either way, Witch on the Holy Night, I'm not too familiar with that story, and I don't know exactly how much content is in it. But to me, at least, the movie makes sense for that. But as far as Tsukihime is concerned, I do hope that if they remake it into a series, that it's a proper 24 episode, 25, maybe 26 episode long anime series, as opposed to a 12, 13 episode long series like the JC Staff anime adaptation from 2003 was, because 12, 13 episodes is not a lot of time to fit in all that content. And not only that, but a movie, if you were to turn it into a movie's even less time than that, and it would be very difficult indeed to try and tell a full and coherent story to audiences with just how much lore and character development and whatnot is in the original Tsukihime visual novel, and whatnot. So yeah, that's I am excited for it. The only concerns I do have about it, getting an official localization, is of course there's the usual fact that when it comes to anything post 2016, and this is coming from a South African who just sees, from the outside looking at what America and even other first world countries like the UK does, where ever since after 2016 everyone's just on this mad scramble to not offend other nations and other cultures and everything like that, and so they have to get into the entertainment industry and change the translations and the meanings and the or whatnot of existing IPs and whatnot, especially in anime. Now, thankfully, it's not the case in every anime and manga related property, but of course it has happened in one or two. The most infamous example being the Kobayashi's Dragon Maid with the whole Gamergate and patriarchy references and whatnot, which made absolutely no sense. And of course there's a certain Twitter user who I'm sure those of you who watch channels like Hero Hey and Rev Says Desu are completely aware of these particular translators, but I'm not going to give out their name and or whatnot, because I don't believe in internet harassment and whatnot. But yeah, it is a bit of a concern, of course, especially now, like as I said, post 2016, whereas everyone in the first world seems to have lost their collective minds about trying to be very PC about how they present everything, but for fear of offending countries like mine or something like that. But that just comes with the risk now, I guess. Like as I said, I'm lazy. I just want to get the official version from Steam if it drops on Steam, or if I do have to download it to play on a PlayStation 4 or Nintendo Switch emulator on the PC. I'm very lazy. I just want to download it one shot and play it right there and then. I don't want to have to install a cajillion files so that it lines up on the screen and translates everything properly and whatnot. Like, I don't want to do that because I'm a lazy bum. I will admit that. But if this new localization does tend to take that radical route of changing the translations and the author's intents to fit a narrative or help the translators insert their own opinions and meta cringe meme humor takes on how much they hate particular anime storytelling tropes or whatnot. Like, if the translation winds up doing that, then I guess I will just have to settle with playing the fan translated version. But I'm hoping and just basically giving whoever's in charge of translating this English release, I just want to give them the benefits of the doubt that they won't do that and that they are actually fans of the original visual novel and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just very excited for it. So like as I said, I want to have faith in the translators, and yeah, I guess we'll see it when it officially drops. But yeah, that remains to be seen. But like as I said, I want to have faith in them. I don't want to be a cynical, jaded old fart, even though I'm not old yet. But I don't want to come off as like some boomer to those of you watching. But yeah, I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, a healthy bit of cynicism doesn't hurt. But I want to believe that it's going to be a great English translation, and it will be a successful release, and that everyone outside of Japan will finally be able to enjoy the wondrous story that is Tsukihime. So yeah, cool. That's all I have to say about this. So what I want to know from you guys is, what are your thoughts? Are you excited for the English, the official English translation of Tsukihime? Are you going to be playing it? What platform are you going to be playing it on? Are you also like me? Are you going to hope that we get a Steam release and whatnot? Let me know in the comments below. I'm very keen on hearing your thoughts and opinions on the matter. And don't forget, guys, once again, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, like, comment, share, all that cool shit to help the channel grow. Check out my main channel, check out my Patreon, check out my social media links in the description box below. And with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I am Andy Metal Viking, and until the next episode, take care of yourselves, and as always, have a kick-ass day. Cheers.